Hey everybody, it's Gail again. I can't get enough of doing these videos because I've come up with so many different things that I want to talk about, and I can't wait to share my experiences with you because I can't wait to hear your experiences. So I'm really trying to put it out there today so that you can kind of get to know me better, because I want to take this, I want this to kind of take off like a rocket. I'm always one that wants things done yesterday. So bear with me if I seem impatient, but I'm really excited to do these videos and share my experiences with you, because I'm hoping that you can benefit from them and that we can all learn something from each other in this crazy life that we're all living together. So this particular video, I'm going under the pink, so to speak, and going under the skin and talking about something that's very personal to me, and that is psychosis and psychotic break, in particular my own, which I experienced in 2009 as a result of being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So, not exactly sure what percentage of people with bipolar disorder have or experience a psychotic break, but I am one of those. I am one that has experienced one, and forgive me if I am moving. I have tardive dyskinesia. Let me stop and let me talk about that for a second. Those of you who have mental illness and have an antipsychotic in your regimen might know about tardive dyskinesia, and it's a movement disorder that is characterized by abnormal mouth movements and just overall generalized movements. You can see it in my head, you can see it in my body. I apologize, it's distracting. I know it's just as annoying for me as it is for you, trust me. But that's why I'm moving. So don't think that there's something inherently wrong with me, because this is just what, what those treatments do. And it's one of the caveats to good medication. So I have to deal with it. So, okay. I don't remember where I left off, but, we're talking about psychosis today and my psychotic break. And I know I left off in one of my previous videos about how I came to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And that is when I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter, I was hospitalized with a lupus flare, and I got no sleep for 9 days and was hospitalized. And to go forward with that, just to go in a little more depth with that particular episode, I like I said in my previous video, I remember a lot of me saying, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. What's happening to me? I'm losing my mind. I don't know what's happening. And my body and my mind were just so exhausted from this pregnancy that had just taken everything out of my body and my soul, and it just twisted everything around. And it was heartbreaking, because the last couple of things that I remember from my psychotic break were sitting in the behavioral health hospital great room. And I remember sitting in there, and I remember people talking to me, and people around me hovered around me and talking to me. And I know I wasn't talking back, because later on they told me that I was catatonic. Yeah, they told me I was catatonic and that I was posturing. So I was actually like stiffened up in my chair, like this, and and immovable. So they had to get like several people to get me into bed because they didn't know what else to do with me. And I wasn't responding to them. Like I was non-responsive. I wasn't responding to their requests. I wasn't responding to their stimuli, and they took me into one of the rooms with beds, and it was one of the single rooms. I remember that because I had a sitter for like 3 days. And the last thing that I remember was seeing the face of my maternal fetal medicine doctor who had been handling my high risk situation since the beginning of my pregnancy. And I remember seeing her face for the last time. And I remember them saying, Gail, we're going to give you something to help you calm down. Okay. And that's the last thing I remember. And I think I slept for 3 days. I think they said that I was in and out of consciousness for 3 days before I finally like woke up and took fluids and kind of came to. So, but that was my experience with my first psychotic break, and I was in a a state of psychosis for several weeks after that. I wasn't being in psychosis. Let me first explain psychosis to you. Psychosis is just a break in reality. You hear people say psycho and yell out, though, that person is a psycho. Well, that yelling out that somebody is a psycho is it just doesn't make any sense because it doesn't mean anything. Psycho just means mind. So you're just calling somebody mind, basically. Duh. But psychosis is a break in reality, and people can have hallucinations, can experience very real things that they believe are there that are not there. They see things that we do not see, and it is very real to them. It's very real what they're experiencing. I know because I experienced it. And people who are in a state of psychosis can also have delusions, which are thoughts that don't attach to reality. So it's another detachment from reality, but through thought. So other forms of symptoms of psychosis that somebody might not think to look for are withdrawal of social activities, and hygiene kind of going downhill. If you kind of see somebody who's, maybe not taking care of themselves as much as or as well as they usually take care of themselves, if they're looking scruffy or a little haggard or, a little dirty, they're not particularly concerned with hygiene. That could be a sign that somebody's going into a psychosis or a psychotic state. Loss of motivation, withdrawal from social activities, like I said, but loss of motivation to do things like cook for themselves or do chores around their house. And, sometimes people's houses get into a state of disrepair because these people going through psychosis can be in such a state that they can't get out of it until somebody helps to bring them out of it. they're not aware of what they're doing. So what typically happens is you'll have the psychotic person who may have an episode, will maybe go to the hospital, get put on medicine, take their medicine, be compliant with their treatment for a while, and then as they get better, they believe that they don't need their medication anymore, so they stop taking it and they go back into a psychosis. And it's a vicious cycle, it really is. And they don't get the help that they need because they're not reaching out, because they don't believe they need help, because they're not taking their medication, and whatever is happening with them in that particular state is real to them, and you really can't convince them otherwise. So I've had two psychotic breaks. I had the one when I was pregnant, which was the scariest. And then I had another one in 2015 that didn't last as long. When I had my first psychotic break, I was psychotic for a long time. I was just tuned out and almost in a dissociative state for almost 2 months, including during and after my the birth of my baby. When I was when I was 8.5 months pregnant, I finally went to the doctor about the psychosis. And when he was with my husband, because my husband had to drive because I was in no condition to drive, I was still in a terrible state of health. I was so insulted when he told me that I was psychotic, because I thought that that was an insult. I thought that he was insulting me. And I took that really personally, and that made me really angry because I didn't know what psychotic meant. I didn't know that it wasn't meant to be an insult, that it wasn't meant to be a bad thing, that it's something, that it's a medical condition that needed to be addressed with medication and with therapy. So I went on my first antipsychotic, and it was a success. It's one of the oldest ones in the book. I'm not going to talk about what medications I've been on. I don't think that I should do that. I don't think that I have the right to do that, because I think that could unfairly influence people to, seek out, what I've tried and what I've been on. I don't want to go down that road where it sounds like I'm giving medical advice, because I'm not. So, but I went on a very old antipsychotic and it worked. And I was on it for several years. And I'm not on it anymore. I'm on a different regimen that has been working for me for the last 8 weeks. I haven't changed doses of anything. So that's always a victory. And I haven't had a psychotic break in 8 years. So it will be 8 years it was 8 years in March. So that was pretty incredible. Now that's not to say that that couldn't happen again, but it seems like I'm doing overall so much better today than I was 8 years ago. And that's really exciting to think about. So that was my experience with my psychotic break. It took a lot for me to come out and talk about that, because a lot of people, I shouldn't be afraid to say how I feel about this stuff, but, I've always been a person that's worried about what people think of me. And when I put this out there, it's because I'm not worried about what people think of me anymore, because this is a part of who I am. And if people can't accept me for that, then I guess I don't need you in my life. So anyway, sorry to go off on that tangent, but I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about any hookups for meetings or groups or anything like that for support groups, there is an organization called NAMI, and it's National Alliance for Mental Illness, and it's NAMI.org. And they have a lot of helpful resources. So go to NAMI, look around, and peace out. And if you like my channel, subscribe to it, like my videos, and I hope to hear and see you guys soon, and have fun and be careful and take care of each other. Bye.